Mindset, a daily dose of practical wit and wisdom with a professional educator and trainer, Amazon best-selling author, United States Marine, television and radio host, Paul G. Markel. Each episode will focus on positive and productive ways to strengthen your mindset and help you improve your relationships, career goals, and overall well-being. Please welcome your host, Paul G. Markel.
Welcome back to yet another episode of the Morning Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Markel, and I'm excited to talk to you today. Today we're going to talk about dogs. Now, when you're a kid, when you're a child, we've had dogs. I grew up with dogs. I grew up in a dog-type household from the time, my first memories. And I don't know how old you are when you first start remembering things, 3 or 4 years old or 5 or so. But my first memories and my memories of our houses, we didn't have a lot of money, but we always had enough. We always had a dog or sometimes 2 dogs or, depending on circumstances. But I grew up in a dog house, a household that had dogs. Now, when you're a kid, you pick a dog based upon what? Based upon how it looks and based upon whether or not it's friendly. And all puppies are friendly and all puppies are cute. And it doesn't matter what the breed of dog is. When you're young, or if you're inexperienced, you could be an older person and be inexperienced. All puppies are young and playful and cute. And so we get our dogs often based upon whether or not we think they're cute, right? They're a cute dog, or maybe you're a little bit more advanced, or maybe your mom says we're not getting a long-haired dog because they shed everywhere, or we're going to get a short-haired dog because of this, or we're going to large dog, small dog, whatever. But if you have experience with dogs, if you are a dog person, if you're serious about it, if you've been a trainer, whatever, you know that different breeds behave and perform differently. Now, I know that seems like stating the obvious, but it's not just about how they look. They're wired differently. Some dogs are perfectly content to lay on the porch. They're porch dogs. We've all seen those, the old hound dogs in movies and TV, and you walk up on the porch and the dog doesn't even lift its head. It might shift its eyes to look at you and it's like, hey, what's up there, buddy? I'm taking my nap. Leave me alone. I sleep 20 hours a day. And then there are other dogs that are extremely energetic. We live in cattle country right now. And there are specific breeds of dogs that are cattle dogs. And why are they cattle dogs? Why are they farm dogs? Well, because they're bred and it's part of their DNA to be very energetic and outgoing. They're intelligent. They're smart dogs. Yes, believe it or not, I know that you probably look at your little puppy down there, or you look at your dog and you think that your dog is the smartest dog in the whole widest world. But the fact is there are differences in breeds. Now, a farm dog who has a lot of energy and is a working dog, they're not really going to be happy in New York or Chicago, or they're not going to be happy living in an urban area, right? They're not going to be happy living in an urban area where you leave them in your condo or your apartment all day long, right? Because they want to be out in the wide open spaces. Now, are there dogs that are perfectly content to just take a nap, lay in the sunbeam, and hang out while you're at work? And then they, you come home, they get excited for 20 minutes and they go lay back down again. Yes, there are. And you say, Paul, this is morning mindset. Why are we talking about dogs? Are you a farm dog or are you a house dog? Are you a city dog? Are you a farm dog? And the reason I ask that is you may currently be very happy with your career situation, your job situation, or you may not be. And if you're not happy with your current living conditions, if you're not happy with your current job situation, it could be because you are not wired for that job. Now, you may have thought that you were. You may have thought, that would be the ideal situation for you. Many times people will buy, when I was a young kid, I was probably kindergarten, first grade time frame. And my parents were young people, obviously, because when you have 5-year-olds, you're young, a young couple in your 20s. and somebody offered my parents a husky puppy. And it was, of course, it was cute. It was beautiful, blue eyes, husky puppy, playful, and all that. Well, then the dog grew up. Huskies, if you know anything about husky dogs, they're very active. They're very smart dogs. And even though we had a large fenced-in backyard, my dad could not keep that dog fenced in. That dog would dig under the fence. That dog would climb on stuff. That dog, he ate as little kids, he ate our socks. Like he'd eat one sock, consume an entire sock. And then there would be socks in the backyard in dog poop. We had to give them away. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Seemed like, we had kids, we were little kids, and we had a backyard, a large fenced-in backyard, but that dog needed more. He needed to be out. Now, when you guys hear me tell you this, I'm not joking, I'm not being glib, and we actually, when I was a little kid, we had a milkman. Yes, there was actually a truck that came around, and it had a route, and the guy stopped in front of your house. And you could buy, and it wasn't just milk. It was all kinds of other things, like, for instance, juices and popsicles and ice cream and so forth. We legit had a milkman, right? I know that's, gone the way of the dodo, but we did. And the milkman lived on a farm. And so we arranged for this dog to go live on the milkman's farm. And I know it sounds totally cliche, and you're like, no, Paul, your parents just told you that. Actually, we went there. We visited the farm, and I saw the horses and cows and all this stuff. And so the dog was way happier there because he didn't even have to be in a fenced-in yard. He could just run and roam and bark at the horses and cattle and so forth, and he was very happy. Now, originally, we thought, that it was a good idea. My parents, I didn't have anything to do with it. I was 5 or 6. They thought it was a good idea. It turned out it wasn't. But the dog was way happier, and we were way happier, and we changed situations. You might not be happy with your current job situation. Maybe you thought when you got that job or you entered that career field, maybe at the time it seemed perfect to you. It seemed like a great idea, perfect idea. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be happy. And then a few years down the line, you realize that you're not. And you're frustrated, and you may not even know why. You're like, why am I frustrated? Why don't I like this anymore? Why do I dread going to work every day? And what is that? Maybe because you're a farm dog living in a condo. Maybe you're not wired for that. Maybe you need to make a change. Now, could we have, and unfortunately, the sad reality of our modern world is, what people will do if their dog is super hyperactive or what have you, or wants to be outside, or if they get a working farm dog and they want to live in a condo, they go to a veterinarian and they get special pills to calm their dog down. And they medicate their dog so that they're calm. And maybe in your situation, you're like, well, I mean, I don't really like this job, but I can live with it. I can deal with it. I can find a way around it. It could be better just to make a change. Now, is changing easy? No, it's not. It requires dedicated effort, and it may be a little scary. You might have to take a risk. But it could just be that what you thought was a good idea originally for you, what you thought for you was going to be a good fit, is not. And you need to make a change. You need to realize you're like, the house dog, if you put a house dog out on a farm, you expected it to work, it probably wouldn't like that either. So if you switch situations, neither one of them are going to be happy. You may be a house dog, you may be a farm dog, you might be a working dog, and you may need a different change. A different setting, a different venue. You might need to make a change in your life. And if you do, you may be way happier, more productive. So I thought that was, just a worthwhile conversation. And yes, we had many, many dogs over the years. And we had some dogs that were perfectly suited for kids, houses, and so forth. And there were times that we lived on a small farm, and we had dogs that could just free roam. Just depends on your situation. Maybe you're in a situation where you need to make a change. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. I am your host, Paul Markel, and I will talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for spending time with us today. To get show notes, submit a topic request, and for more from your host, Paul G. Markel, visit morningmindsetpodcast.com. That's morningmindsetpodcast.com. Please leave a review for this podcast on your favorite podcast player. We appreciate your time and effort, and we look forward to reading your honest feedback.